Thanks for coming back. There are and have been a lot of great coaches in Memphis and Shelby County. Tim Thompson, a.k.a. Coach T, is one of them. Coach T led Melrose to several state championships, and he has taken some lowly programs and built them into straight-up contenders. Coach T not only helps young men win games, he helps them become young men. Sports Director Doc Holliday sat down with him.
I have the pleasure of being joined by, everyone knows him just by Coach T, Coach Tim Thompson, legendary coach in the area. Coach T, thanks for joining me.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure, man. No doubt about it, man. I'm very thankful.
Now, if people don't know, Coach Tim Thompson I was riding through Orange Mound like last week. Yeah. And I was like, man, I remember when Coach T had this area over here thumping, a very proud neighborhood community. But when you had that football program, man, multiple state championships, raising young men, young Royals, and how many players you put in the NFL from those?
10. Put 10 in the NFL, man. I've been blessed.
So you have so much knowledge to give and so much knowledge to share to these young people and young athletes, man. That's why I wanted to have you on.
Thank you.
If you can have, and what would you say to some of these young football players, man, who are trying to make it through high school or make it to college level? Because we can't even count the number of young men you put in major Division I programs and on to the next level. What do you say to them? Because I know you still coach and you train and you talk to young people all the time.
You know what, Doc, it goes back to something you just said, man. You know what I mean? And it was powerful before we got on television. But the ego, man, you got to take your ego out of it, and you got to go through the process. You got to trust the process, and you got to stay focused on your goals and focus on your grades. It's a lot comes into being a great football player. It's more than just being a great football player on the football field. You got to be a great football player off the football field. You know what I mean? You got to have the right team around you. I'm telling you, it's a lot of things that plays that process. And I've been watching Eric Gray and DJ Jeffries, how his mom, how he's moving. You see what I'm saying? He got a great team around him. He's not making a decision by himself. He's making a team-oriented decision. You know what I mean? Because you can't do it by yourself. So when I saw those kids you interviewed, man, no egos. No egos, period. You know what I'm saying? So that's the main thing I would tell these young athletes, man. Your work ethics, you know what I mean? You got to put in a lot of work. Not only on the football field, and that's why I have my own training company. You got to go somewhere like the guys in Texas and Florida, you know what I mean, where there's massive numbers. We might have 25, 30 kids in the Memphis area that might get a Division I scholarship. But you know, in Florida and Texas, man, that's peanuts, baby. You know what I'm saying? They're getting like 150 to 300 scholarships just in one county. Not saying the whole spread out through Florida. So I think that's very important that the kids concentrate on their grades, you know what I mean, and get your egos out of it. Make God first, man. You know, no doubt about it, man. You got to put God first, stay humble, stay grateful, and put in a lot of work, man. Then you're going to be blessed.
And one thing about you, Coach, even though you put all these young men in the NFL, man, not only the ones that didn't make it to the pros, man, they still respect you and speak so highly of you. Even somebody like myself who played against you when I was at Fairleigh, you was coaching at Westwood. I thought so much about you then and the teams you all played. But not only that, man, what is the mindset when you go into a program and you know, meeting some of these young people and their families, because a lot of them come from rough situations. And we can talk about the championships at Melrose, man, but you also went to one school that was horrible. You went there, man, and turned that pro. Was that Fairware?
Yeah, it's Fairware.
Went to Fairware and just turned that whole program around. What is your mindset when you're going into situations like this, man, to earn the respect that people have for you?
You know what? I always picture myself in a situation where I played the Pee Wee game. I played Pee Wee football. I played junior high football, recruited to go to Melrose. A lot of people don't know I graduated from Melrose, was Mr. Melrose. So, and I came out of a single parent home, you know what I mean? My dad went to jail. So the bottom line is all the time, you know what I mean, me growing up, God was really preparing me all the time, but I was young and didn't understand at that time. Well, you're gonna meet some kids going to come out of a single parent home. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna meet some kids that come out of violent situations. You're gonna meet some kids who was born in the ghetto like Hyde Park, like I was born. So all those scenarios, and me going to Tennessee State University and etc., being highly recruited coming out of high school. So I understand the whole entire process. You know what I mean? I understand. So I want to prepare these kids at an early age to have a high school program that's reformed on college style. And that's my whole format in going in and saving lives. That's the first thing my concentration is, you know what I mean? God has given me the gift to save a lot of lives, man. And I got guys not only with football, Doc, man, I'm talking about other day, man, I almost crying when I heard Nick Manning, the guy that nobody know, but now he's a superintendent, Dr. Nick Manning, who played for me, the superintendent of Spy Charter Schools.
Wow.
So the locker room was an area where I saved a lot of lives, man. I touched so many souls. Sometimes I didn't even practice. People don't even know that. We didn't even practice, period. All we talked about it was God, man. All we talked about life and how we can save your life and how we can make your life better, man. So that's the whole scenario in my system, man. And going to Fairware, It wasn't about winning state championships. Everywhere I go, it's got a different format. It was on a 50-game losing streak. So my thing was them to bringing pride back in the community, you know what I'm saying? Letting you know that love yourself first and tell them the whole format of being a better football player. And we changed that area around at the same time too.
Now, you said something, Coach, and it's something that you and I talked about, man. I tell people that all the time. I'm unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
Trusting God's process. I don't care what anyone says, man. I'm a living example. If you trust God's process through all the mistakes I've made, God has picked me up, man. My ego out of control, God has picked me up, man. I think I'm knowing more than everybody else. God has picked me up and smacked me around and corrected me. But it's important to trust the process because, like we talked about, your ego gets us in trouble, but God's process never fails. And if you just trust it and work as hard as you can, in every situation God puts you in, I promise you'll be blessed beyond measure.
You know what? I went to church yesterday, man, and the pastor was preaching, etc. You know what I mean? I got it. It was a great story, and she broke it down. You know what I mean? My sister's a pastor. But you know what? Being in here with you for 5 minutes before everybody got in here, man, you touched me, bam. Because, you know, I've always been good on catching on things that's very important. And when you said that, man, it's a way you said it. Because you can tell the story of Peter and Paul and John a million different ways. But when you touched on, and I just saw your spirit, brother, that, man, I really trust the process, Coach T. Get your ego out the way, get everything out the way, you know what I'm saying? And God humbled me, man. I've been through a lot, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And God humbled me, and I'm very thankful, you know what I'm saying? But I understand you got to go through to get the blessing, baby. So I got to show an example of staying strong. So when I was on top of the world, winning the states and NFL players and all that right there, you know what I mean? It came a day where God was going to test me, man, and he tested my faith, and he tested my love.
Coach T. Thompson, man, thanks so much for joining us, man. Great message, man. I always have much love and respect for you, and I'm pretty sure everybody out there watching and listening have much love and respect for you. Coach T. Thompson, thanks again, my guy.
I appreciate it.
No doubt.
Love.